Yeah, I was an infant, man. I was so small. I grew up in the country. I was singing all my life, but never had I gone out and done something on telly. I think it was something. So I was singing every year at a Christmas carols, and a lady came up to me one year and said, "Man, you should audition for this show." And no one had ever heard of it before because it was the very first time it had been on telly. So it was called Australia's Got Talent. So my mom and I just thought, yeah, let's give it a go. Whatever, let's see what happens. And look, I did not expect anything from it. I was not even nervous to go for the audition because I just thought it was going to be fun. I remember Mum saying to me, "Love, I'll give you $50 if you don't get it, and we'll go shopping." So we went, did the audition, and we didn't hear back for like 6 months. So I got the $50 anyway, and we went shopping too. But then
What did you buy? What did you buy? What did you buy? What did you buy?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably something ridiculous from Kmart. But yeah, look, it was really cool for me. I was young. I was on telly. Like I got to meet some incredible people. I got to sing, which is the only thing that I cared about growing up. All I did was sing. So for me, an opportunity like that just taught me a lot of things. And I think, it sort of cemented that I wanted to sing for the rest of my life. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to entertain. I wanted to be on telly. I love that side of things. Like, it's a great world that I live in, and I'm really grateful for that. But I think after Australia's Got Talent as well, it was a very overwhelming experience for a 12-year-old, first year of high school, winning. I had managers, I had labels coming towards me, and I was super lucky, which doesn't usually happen, you would know, Mills, because when you do win a competition, you're kind of locked into like a label. And because the first season of Australia's Got Talent was like a pilot almost, but it did really, really well. So we decided not to sign it to a label just because I was super young. And that was really, I think, the best decision I could have made, because I was singing big songs as a young girl. I didn't want to do like lollipop music, I didn't want to be controlled and do something that I didn't want to do. So yeah, I was really lucky in that regard. And I just went out and I met some incredible people. I met Jimmy Barnes and I met his family, and he kind of took me under his wing. I started, going around my hometown asking the pub or anywhere if I can sing, if I can sing for free. I was like, I'll just do it. I want to get up and sing. And that's kind of where it all began for me. I remember I was just supporting everyone in Australia. I felt like Kate Sobrano, Vanessa, and Jimmy. I went on tour with him as a 13-year-old, and I went to New Zealand, the first time I'd ever been overseas. And it was just, all of that stuff has made me like who I am today. It kind of gave me my base and my understanding of the industry, and yeah, it was really cool to do that. I mean, your experience would be very different, Millsy.
Pretty much similar. I mean, I remember touring with Vanessa and Jimmy straight off the back of. No,
yeah.
Just oh man! But similar to you, but being part of the very first show, not really knowing what it was. Also, you were 12. I was 21 and still didn't quite have a great understanding of who I was as a person. So to be swept up in a big machine, a big producer-driven machine that is Australian Idol, any kind of reality show. If anyone's seen the TV show Unreal or watched much of Married at First Sight, will know that it's entirely scripted, or mostly entirely scripted, or that it's so well produced that. But luckily for me, our first series wasn't so much produced, but they still sort of had an idea of how to pigeonhole each person. There's Pete, who was a big farmer, so the country guy. Also, you had Shannon, sort of like good-looking country fella. You had me as the sort of, I don't know, young larrikin kind of kid.
Yeah.
Very head.
Thank you. Guy Sebastian was your churchy sort of gospel soul singer who could sing anything and still can. He's just ridiculous. But so they sort of pigeonholed everybody, and for me it was kind of like, oh, this is who I have to be now. I have to be this person. It wasn't until years later worked out, who I was and what I actually stand for, and built my own self-worth and all that sort of stuff. But going back to the actual show, it was just fun. Like I worked in pub bands for 3 or 4 years from the age of like 17, 18. So I didn't do Idol till I was 21. So I had the confidence to be on stage. So I knew, and then all it was just adding a camera, and the camera was just, it was that person that you sang to at the pub. So instead of like, hey there, but then instead of singing 30 songs a night, you only had to sing one. I was like, this is the greatest day ever. What a sweet gig.
Well, that is interesting from both of you to hear that you both had a reasonable amount of stage experience prior to going on, and obviously both did very well and still are. So that sure, was that common amongst the other contestants as well, that the ones that had gotten through to a certain point all had enough time on stage that getting in front of the crowd and that kind of stuff wasn't as big a deal?
Yeah,
I think it's different though.
Yeah, some people blossomed. Some people really blossomed each episode. I know Cosima really blossomed every week. She was someone who'd never really sung in front of anybody.
Oh wow!
And just got better and better and more confident throughout the competition. It was just great. Love Cossie. But Guy had done Planet Shakers, which is a big churchy thing that travels around the world. So he's used to a big stage. Shannon had been singing with his brothers in a band for many years. I know Paulini had done so many sort of gigs with her family over the years as well. So a lot of us sort of had that sort of confidence in ourselves, I suppose, in our ability a little bit. I don't know what it was like for you though.
When you audition, right, you have like different sections. So you audition, then people go, yep, you're good. Then you do the Kelly audition, right? Is that how Idol works? So they're not going to they want someone with that star factor. That's kind of what it's all about, I think with Australia's Got Talent's obviously completely different because there's people, playing gum leaves, there's people doing backflips, there's dogs, there's cats, there's like, it was the weirdest show to be on because you didn't know what they were expecting, you didn't know who you were up against. I mean, I was in the grand final with a guy that played a gum leaf, and he was a beautiful Aboriginal guy. Yeah, and to be honest, in the beginning, I thought he was super cool. I said to my mum in the car park one time, I reckon Herb's going to win. And then I was at the end of the show with him and I was like, all right, he's got it. And then they called out my name and I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But different for me. But yeah, it was cool as a 12-year-old to win a show like that though.
And Bonnie, that decision to go to school, I mean, that's super mature. Like, how much was that parents going, no, we really think you should do this? And like, how much did it take to convince you that was the right move? When you're 12, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but most people I feel like at 12, you're like, no, I can conquer the world. And like, yeah, I'm going to go become a singer and do that thing. Like,
Oh, and also parents are very much like that as well. When they've got young kids that have got a talent, they're like, oh my God, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, that's cool, you're going to be famous. Like I have to say a lot of parents do that. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, they're super proud of their kids, but it's very much was a decision where we took a lot of, ideas of other people. And I think a kid, I was like, I wanted to run around with my dogs in the backyard and ride my motorbike and stuff. I was just like, loved being out in the country. And I was like, I remember I'd just ride around and sing all the time. And that was kind of my thing. Like my singing teacher before the grand final, he said, stop singing, just go and ride your motorbike and run around with the dogs. And it kind of like, just like relaxes me a little bit. But it's just what I wanted out of that, to be honest. Like I was singing a lot before the show and I did kind of have a grasp of what I wanted to do. Even as a young girl, as a 12-year-old, you still know, sometimes what you want to do if you have some ambition, But I wanted to work. I didn't want to just, I knew that it wasn't going to work if I put out an album or something and as a 12-year-old. Like I was like, who the heck is going to buy my record?
Whoa. Nikki, well.
Yes, she did, but
Strawberry Kisses is still one of the greatest songs of all time. Just putting it out there. Don't let my mate Sam Mack tell you any different. He loves that song.
I think so.
Sorry. Continue.
Was the person that was like, okay, I could be like Nikki Webster, but I didn't want to put out a song like Strawberry Kisses. Like I was singing like Aretha Franklin and things like that. So
and was it always that for you? Was it always these big gospel-y type songs that you were like
yeah,
singing?
sure. I used to sing gospel all the time. And I think for
Where's
me,
that
I was
come
like,
from?
man, I don't know. But I think like I went to church every now and then when I was younger, and I just was inspired by black singers. I was just like, I just felt that. Mum played a lot of soul when I was growing up. My mum's a singer, but yeah, I don't know. And I think, to be honest, I just want to be singing for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be some overnight success, and I wanted to work for it. That's why I went out and I just would play and sing to like one person in the crowd. I didn't care if it was 1 or 100. Like I just did that. And I think I just had that mentality because I did study these people that have been around for a long time, you know, these classic
do the
people.
work.
You got to do the work.
Do the gigs. Yeah. Build the pillars. I always call it about building the blocks to build your pyramid up. You can't be at the top. You got to keep building the blocks at the bottom first. So you got to do those gigs.
Yeah.
You got to do those gigs for no money. You got to hustle. You got to go out to pubs and go, hey. Yeah.
Hello, and thank you for watching this Tech Talks clip. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you want to see the full conversation, click here. If you want to see all of the Tech Talk clips, click here. And if you want to see all of the Tech Talk conversations, click here.